Cloud. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to just start and share. And yeah, like I said, if anybody would like to, yeah, just ask questions or add something, please feel free to jump in because we're just going to, yeah,
Okay.
get going here then. Okay, so it was Friday night began the month of Adar, and on the Jewish calendar, that the way they keep track of time is the day begins in the evening. So it began Friday night through Saturday. Um, and Adar is one of the months too that when we always have leap years, but Adar on the Jewish calendar, they will, I think it's every 3 to 4 years, they have an Adar 1 and an Adar 2. And so that,
Oh,
yeah, it fixes yeah, because again, yeah, the Hebrew calendar is solar and
mhm.
lunar. It keeps the seasons, or sorry, it keeps the holidays attached to the season so that they don't end up going, yeah, throughout the whole year.
Last year there were two Adars.
There were, yep. That
Mhm.
was, I guess, the leap year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this kind of, yeah, resets all of the holidays to their, I mean, to keeps them within their seasons.
Mhm.
Okay, so I do want to acknowledge too a lot of the things I'm sharing. Of course, I got from my Rabbi Rakamim Baton of Levamuna Therapy, and also a lot of the things I've learned about the month specifically came from Rabbi Amichai Cohen of Live Kabbalah. And I took one of his series. It was Beyond the Zodiac series, so that's where I got some of this information too. So I just want to acknowledge that. Um, okay, so let's see. In Adar, the theme of this is that we are supposed to be increasing our joy, which of course is going to be very difficult, especially when we have different challenges and issues and problems. And yeah, or maybe we're just feeling down. So that's what we're going to talk about. What are some ways that we can really focus on increasing our joy?
Mhm.
So some just general information. If you were born in this month, so in the month of Adar, it is said that no evil eye is upon you. So
Mm.
I told my son that. I'm like, well, there you go, bud. He's like, right on. So
Well, forever and ever. I mean,
I think
that's a life thing.
I, I think that we can do things in our life that still block, the blessings and the goodness from God, but
Hmm.
typically I think that's just what the theme is. But uh I mean, I have known people born in this month that maybe don't feel that way at all. But I think if you embrace that, then there you go.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I think if you think it in your head, like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I'm not, nobody can whatever that I don't know, you have an extra protection maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
An
think.
extra layer of something.
Right. Exactly. And a good, yeah, good layer. I guess this is an auspicious month to begin new things, is what Rabbi Amichai Cohen said.
Mm.
And let's see. So some of the in the Hebrew calendar, there's some different aspects of it. So first of all, there's an association with the tribe of Naphtali, the Hebrew tribe Naphtali, and we'll get to a little bit more about him. And there's in every month there's a godly a permutation of God's name. It's the tetragrammaton that we don't pronounce, the Yud K Vav K. So every month on the Hebrew calendar, you can rearrange the letters of God's name differently. So this permutation, if you know Hebrew, is Hey Hey Yud Vav, which we can talk about. The Hebrew letter for this month is the letter Kuf, which actually they say can be typically a negative letter, but we'll talk about that.
Mm.
The body part affiliation for this month is the spleen.
Mhm.
And the sense, we have different senses, and this one isn't necessarily one of the five senses, but it's still a body sense for this month is laughter. So that goes with increasing our joy.
Mhm.
And the zodiac sign is Pisces, the fish. So those are just kind of the general themes of this month, and we'll get into them a little bit more here. Yeah, and again, if you feel free to share or ask questions as we go along. So this is from the Talmud, the Tractate Betzah. It says in this month we're to plant an Adar, which that's the name of the month. And we're like, well, what's an Adar? Is it some kind of tree? It sounds like it.
A plant.
Right. So what is said is that it's kind of thinking about it from the spiritual aspect, that it's a time that where we want to have our like our properties or investments, whatever they are, whether they're financial or maybe investments in our businesses or our creative ideas, that this is the time for that planting for them to be successful.
Mm.
And what Rabbi Baton was talking about last week, he said our properties are like our spiritual achievements, so good deeds and prayers.
Mm.
And so he said that that's the ultimate planting of an Adar is through those things. And Rabbi Amichai Cohen was saying that, yeah, with this idea or theme of what Adar is, he talked a lot about miracles in nature. So he was talking how God's essence is found in nature, and that's how God conducts the world. So there's miracles that defy nature. You know, we probably all can think of some that we've heard of, probably, you know, from scripture or whatever, like the parting of the Red Sea. Those are, you know, miracles we would say that defy nature. But there's also miracles that are within nature. So what the rabbi was sharing was that there's no difference between miracles and nature, those things that we take for granted, because he was saying nature in and of itself is a miracle. We just call it nature. So I guess in Hasidus, it says that these miracles that just happen within nature, whether it's just breathing or a baby being born or a seed planted that grows. I mean, we've all probably grown things before from seeds, and it's just like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's so simple, but it's so amazing at the same time. But these miracles that are within nature, the rabbis say that they actually come from a higher origin source because they are hidden in a sense. So even though they're hidden because they're just around us all the time and we can maybe just take them for granted, like, well, this is just the cycle of life, but they're very miraculous because they aren't maybe as obvious, like, whoa, okay, the sea is parted. So it's, yeah, that's kind of one of the things that we want to maybe think about this month, is just acknowledging the everyday miracles that are around us all the time. And that would be something that would help us increase our joy, I think. Okay, so back to that Talmudic passage, to plant an Adar is recognizing how God conducts himself within nature and just planting that within our consciousness. Okay, the sense of laughter, true joy. So yeah, the whole thing with laughter, I don't know how you know, if you think about, well, what makes me laugh? But a lot of times it's things that maybe are unexpected. So if you kind of think of like silly spoof comedy, it's just, you know, oh, that person fell down and it's funny, you know, things that are just not expected are usually things that draw laughter or draw that response from us. And that ultimate level of laughter is when we don't expect the world to elicit this from us. Yeah, I know that's something I'm still thinking on. So when something is, yeah, maybe very surprising that happens just in the world around us, it can draw laughter from us. Whether it's, yeah, I don't know, watching my kitty cats being silly, or it's just something unexpected. The big holiday that on the Hebrew calendar this month is Purim. So if you're familiar with the story of Queen Esther, that's this month is when that occurred. So that's the pinnacle of this month. So that's the holiday Purim. And it's there was a hiddenness, like in the book of Esther, there's like no mention of God at all. So it's like God is very hidden in that book. But you know, it was very dark, like the Jewish people were going to be annihilated. There was this decree against them, and everything just flipped on its head because of Mordecai and Esther. So yeah, the hiddenness, yeah, just was this miracle again that happened that again connects to eliciting laughter. Like how crazy is this that things just flipped all around. Um,
Do you have any sources
mhm.
or a place to be able to look at a timeline for Esther and
Mhm.
Nehemiah and Daniel, and because all of this happened within the same
Mhm.
time frame.
Right.
But I was just trying to get thinking on that the other night,
Mhm.
trying to like see a visual, a
Right.
timeline, so that I could see where they fit.
Right, right. I don't have one handy, but I know I've looked online because yeah, I've done the same thing. Like, okay, this story happened, and then who was the prophet at that time, and yeah, what
Right.
frame was this in the Babylonian exile, and yeah, I know there's resources online, but I don't have one handy. If I find one, I can post that on my platform.
Okay.
But yeah, that's something I think Google search. Or
Yeah.
our friend Anna Arena, she's good at finding that sort of thing too. Okay, oh, the Hebrew letter kuf. Okay. So if I draw a kuf, it'll be backwards if I show it on the screen,
Draw
but
it backwards then,
let's
Vanessa.
see, let's see.
Make sure you also do it upside down. So that way, you can show your skill off. Oh, hey, there we
Yeah,
go.
It looks
yeah.
like
There
a
it is.
P, but yeah, it kind of looks like a P. So that's what a coof looks like. And it's usually got a long tail that like drops below than, like a line of Hebrew writing. And it says that the kuf impersonates the hey. So this is the letter hey, this one down here. So they're saying this letter kind of impersonates this letter. And
Huh.
what the Zohar says about that, the letter kuf, this one, represents the Sitra Akra, like the evil side, whereas the Hay represents holiness.
Mhm.
And what's interesting too is that kuf, so the kuf is the name of the letter, but it's also the word for monkey. And so what the Rabbi Amichai Cohen was saying was that monkey, it has like human-like features, but it doesn't have the human intellect. So there's that impersonation piece. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, so it's the
Hmm.
kuf, they're saying it goes below the line because it's lost in nature. So it's just kind of stuck in the natural, the superficial. But the hay is like the kuf in a rectified state. I don't know if that seems really deep. Um, so the kind of the idea was, let's see if I can articulate this. It's, we don't want to just be stuck in, okay, this is life and this is the world. And, every day just is, this is what I do. But when we're acknowledging just the divinity and the miracles all around us every day, then that's like rectifying that. We're not just being stuck in the day-to-day humdrum. This is what it
Well,
is.
you said monkey, and I immediately thought of monkey mind.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, stuff is just going and going, and it's
There you
all like
go. That's like
surface stuff that gets you like, oh, and you're just all over, and you're like, okay, center, like, calm down, like.
right. Thank you. That's a really good description and connection, I think, because yeah, in the monkey mind, we're just kind of bouncing around all over and
Mhm.
um yeah, and there's so many distractions and that's just so easy to do, or we get caught up with football or whatever the heck our distractions are. And yeah, but not centering and going inward. That's good,
Mhm.
Jessica. Let's see. Okay, there's a commandment to the Jews to actually remember what Amalek did to you. So Amalek was a nation that, as the people of Israel were leaving Egypt and they were going into the wilderness, that Amalek attacked them from behind. Like they were trying to get at the weak and the people that were at the behind them. Um, so I guess the meaning of that name, Amalek, means to sever. So, and I guess literally they like would be their enemies. Um, So, but what the rabbi was sharing in his class was that this represents the severing of the mind from the rest of our body. So a disconnect between what I know and then what I feel in my heart. So he says that's just something that, as we're trying to align, our heart and our mind together. Yeah, that idea of Amalek on a spiritual level is that disconnect from that. Yeah, so when we know one thing but maybe feel differently, becoming disenfranchised with who I really am at my core. So it's something that we can think about and just be aware of. Let's see, what else do we have about that? Oh, the second meaning of that name Amalek is, yeah, Amal Kuf, which says the work of Kuf. And the rabbi was explaining that this is like, let's see, taking the Kuf and combating people by being superficial. So like what you alluded to, Jessica, just all the distractions, the news, the entertainment, just to entrench us in the world and think that there's
Well, in our own personal problems that we think we're, like fixing or whatever, dealing with. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So we can end up, yeah, just feeling like, oh, there's nothing else besides this problem or this, whatever it is that's, yeah, causing us to just be consumed with that. So the whole point is then, yeah, to come to the joy that we want to, recognize. We want to, so that the idea then to the commandment to the Jews to rid yourself of Amalek on this spiritual level is, yeah, just okay, well, let's increase our joy and kind of get rid of this Amalek within ourselves. And our dear friend Anna-Rena Kreisman shared last week, though, that in this month, even though as we're supposed to be increasing our joy, she said the Amalek will show up the most in this month as well. So just something,
Of course.
it will increase too. All right, so let's see. We're going to talk a little bit about here the spleen. That was the body part that's affiliated with this month. And what the spleen does, it's one of those organs that also helps like the liver and filtering the blood. They were, let's see, Rabbi Amichai Cohen was saying that this is actually like the spiritually, on a spiritual level, kind of the seat of anger and depression that's stored in the spleen. So we want to just be aware of that, just be conscious of it, not to be drawn down into, oh, this is going on and that's going on in the world. There's so much evil and this and that, which is easy to get pulled down that rabbit hole. Yeah, but just recognizing that, yeah, what we see isn't really what we get. So just kind of thinking about as the spleen as a filter organ, okay, let's filter and sift out this negativity to come back to a place of joy and laughter. The zodiac sign being the fish. Let's see if I can articulate this. This came from the Chaim Vital. He was another Jewish sage, and I can't remember when he lived, but his explanation, he was talking about how fish, the hidden concept of water. So I mean, water can hide what is underneath, and in our own reality, there's a lot of hiddenness. Let's see that it is said that the fish have no evil eye, which is interesting. And because although I've heard this somewhere and I'm so sorry, I can't remember where. But like in Noah's flood, like, I mean, the marine life weren't affected because they were
Live in the water.
live in the water. Exactly. And there was, yeah, there's a whole lot. I'll end up going down a rabbit trail with that story. But anyway, but yeah. So, okay, so the fish living in the water, they're just doing their mission. They're within their source, within the unity. They're living in the water. So it's, if water is representing like the hiddenness and the fish lives within the hiddenness, yeah, I think we're trying to focus on in our lives being, again, just being aware of the divine around us and not just being, I don't know, I'm struggling to articulate this one.
I always think about the fish in the water. It's like they don't know they're in water.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it's like you don't know how deep that water is.
Mm-hmm.
But But yeah, like they don't know they're in the water. They don't know they're in the
Right, right.
water. But
Exactly.
they're it's all around them, you know. Like you said, the hidden mat, you know,
Mhm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. It's yeah, the
which
rabbi.
is how we are as well, I think. But
Yeah,
we
exactly.
can't see this.
Mhm. Right, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
They
the
don't plot and scheme. You know, I mean, they're living their life.
Mhm.
You know, everything is just flows.
Right, right.
You know, there aren't any
Mm-hmm.
hidden reasoning or purpose.
Right, right. Yeah, and I think the point the rabbi was making too with this was there. There's a unity within that. They are living their lives
Mhm.
within this hiddenness that that they're in.
Mhm.
Which we do too, but we can always again just have that conscious awareness that everything is divinely ordained, and
Hmm.
that lifts that up, that reveals maybe the hiddenness of God in this world, and we bring that consciousness to it.
Hmm.
Let's see. Oh, okay. The Hebrew tribe is Naphtali, and his name means satiated with ratzon. Ratzon means will in Hebrew. Um, and the root of that is prayer. So our when we're talking about like when we're praying, and a lot of times we'll pray, may it be your will, God. Um, so that key to unlocking this month is in prayer. And I know a lot of times we may think, is God really hearing me? Is this prayer even doing anything? But all prayers are always answered, even if it's not right away, or maybe in the way that we think, but prayer is always answered. But this month is a time where we can see more quick results of our prayers. And that, again, that was the Purim story, where it's like, okay, the Jewish people are thinking we're gonna all get wiped out, and then,
Poof. Yeah.
that just flipped exactly. And
Mhm.
so that connects with Naphtali, that son of Jacob, one of the tribes of Israel, because he was quick like a deer. Apparently, he was a very fast runner. So the theme or the idea here is that the prayer of Naphtali elicits a quick response. So it's like, yeah, it just hits the bullseye. So we all have that within us. So it's just a month where we can, confidently pray and know that all prayers are answered, and that this month there's going to be a quick response. There's going to be a resolution to this, whatever it is I'm praying for.
That's pretty cool, actually, though. Like, I didn't realize that about Naphtali, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes actually a lot of sense when you're identifying and aligning what we know about the the Torah, where we are in the Torah cycle, what's
Mm-hmm.
going on with Purim. And then also, if you want to look at it like you were identifying with Pisces, and if you're looking into that sort of astrological stuff as well, I don't dabble in that a whole ton, but Pisces is in water. So it's an idea of what I'm making the connection of is everything's meant to just be a flow for this month.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to be accountable for how we would like to seek Hashem and ask him for it to flow, is kind of what I'm gathering from
There
that.
you
And
go.
it's
Nice.
neat to kind of, when we're children of Hashem, it's the connection I'm making is that we get to have that choice of, are we going to choose into giving into the anger and the depression and the negativity that could be surrounding the month for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
and or we could choose to rise up and choose to partner with Hashem in the way that He's called us to do so, whether that be through our giftings in the context of Tikkun Olam, which is the better repairment of the world,
Mm-hmm.
or through other means. And it's just kind of like this beautiful cyclical full circle thing that just happened in my brain as I've been listening. So that's super cool. Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's, I like that. Wonderful.
Well, that just reminded me of, yeah, because you were talking about the fish in the water, and I was like, yeah, the
Mhm.
water, it's like go with when you're in a river swimming, you don't try to swim upstream necessarily. You go with the flow. You go with
Right.
the flow and you don't fight. You surrender to,
Mm-hmm.
that. And
Right.
yeah, God,
Mm-hmm.
you're
Mm-hmm.
going.
Exactly.
The other thing too, I apologize, it just popped
Oh,
into my
no,
head
go
was
ahead.
like the idea of like there's different types of purification, right? Like you can have purification through fire, but you can also have a purification through cleansing. And
Mhm.
if you're not aware of Jewish culture, women actually primarily commanded to do a mikveh, which is like a cleansing in regards to after period, because after you have done your bleeding and whatnot, and it's kind of an interesting thought. That might have been TMI on there, but it just was kind of an interesting idea of being washed and cleansed. And while we are choosing to be going with the flow, like what have already been said, it's like you're giving Hashem that permission to cleanse you in that way by, as you were talking about before, Vanessa, like surrendering to Him and choosing it. So
Mhm.
that was just cool. I'll stop talking
Good.
now.
No, it's all good. Thank you. Um, and I just learned through my teaching with Rabbi Baton that that word mazel, a lot of times people will say mazel tov, and it's typically used as a congratulatory phrase or sometimes good luck. But that word for mazel really means flow. And so when somebody is, blessed with good luck in that sense, or you're congratulating something for something good that happened, it is just like you're saying, oh, good flow, because there's just a flow, between that person and God.
Ah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So what are some practical things that we can do to increase our joy this month? Something that Rabbi Baton talked about last week in our class was just, he said, don't take yourself so seriously. Just do something silly once in a while. So I tend to take myself way too seriously. So that's something I know I can work on. He just said there's a light energy with that. Like he was sharing, like one of the rabbis at his yeshiva school of Torah study just like throws candy at people. And he said
Mhm.
there's just a lightness to that. And yeah, he's like, if you take yourself too seriously, then um there's the concept of the klipa. The klipa is these blockages that come between us and God will
Mm.
take us too seriously too. It kind of reciprocates, and then it makes life more difficult for ourselves. So that was a good reminder for myself anyway. We talked a bit about in our class last week, just moving intentionally into joy. So a few ways we can do that is literally just like dance, clap our hands, sing a song. I know another rabbi I've listened to, he's like, just maybe 5 minutes a day, I'll just watch a silly animal video. I mean, just something to make us laugh, because we need to do that more often. Again, not to get stuck on scrolling on social media, which can easily happen, but it's like, no, I'm just going to go for 5 minutes and watch something that's going to make me laugh. And anyway, if we can't actually dance and clap our hands, or maybe we're just not feeling it, visualizing that actually will help too. Just visualize yourself dancing and whatever environment, would make you happy.
Mhm.
And picture that, and really, again, try to tap into that feeling of joy that would come if you were just, dancing with an abandon. Who cares, Um, let's see. This is a key thing that Rabbi Baton was talking about. Just first of all, recognizing the parts of me that we resist that. So, it could be just, again, just life's challenges or problems, or just like, I'm just not feeling it, or I'm feeling down. But he said, again, just acknowledge, okay, where am I maybe resisting the thought of just being happy and joyful, or actually dancing, or visualizing myself dancing. And so when we're acknowledging that, he said that's kind of like integrating those parts of me that are resisting it into the dance, so that everything's aligned with joy. And he was giving a metaphor, and this comes from Rabbi Nachman, which is a Jewish sage. And again, I not good with all my time periods for these different rabbis, but it was, I think, a couple hundred years ago.
Mm.
He gave this metaphor of a dance circle. So I don't know if you've seen Jewish dance before, but men and women don't typically dance together. They will have like a men's dance circle and a women's dance circle separate from each other. But anyway, but yeah, they form these dancing circles. So you know, a lot of times, you know, maybe you'll see when people are happy and they're joyous and dancing, but there's maybe someone standing on the sidelines that didn't join the circle. The idea of like grabbing that person that's standing on the sidelines and pulling them into the circle. And maybe that person was like really resisting dancing, but you know, they get pulled in and they start. For whatever reason, again, they're just not in the mood, or they were just like, ugh, whatever, you know, it could be apathy or just depression or sorrow, whatever it is about just whatever's going on in their lives. But as they get pulled into the dance circle, eventually what starts to happen is, you know, maybe they'll go around once and like, all right, fine, I'm just going to get pulled into this. But as you continue to move, then eventually you're like, okay, all right, this isn't so bad. And, you know, then maybe a smile happens and eventually like, okay, they're part of the circle and part of the joy. So just kind of again, just transforming worries and doubts and despairs, all of that
Mhm.
into joy.
Well, yeah, yeah, because movement
Mhm.
like releases those things out of your body, I think,
Yeah,
think
yeah,
like just going for a walk can like
yeah,
completely change your mood and
exactly.
turn your, whatever, just moving your body like in a,
Yeah.
not necessarily like you're working out but like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
dance or going for a walk or yeah, it can completely because it
Oh,
releases
yeah,
whatever is kind of like,
right.
feeling kind of not great or
Exactly.
not joyful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Whatever's kind of just, yeah, the
Yeah.
stuckness. Yeah, absolutely. That's good, Jessica. Yeah, because just walking in nature is, yeah, can transform your mood and just being outside.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, that it does work. Just kind of, yeah, eventually maybe it'll take a couple of rounds of dancing or a couple, yeah, walks around the block or down wherever you live. And yeah, it can really transform that around. So, and again, it's just, it is important to acknowledge whatever you're feeling. And so it's not just, Rabbi Batone's always very explicit about this, like never, ever, um, yeah, suppressing how you feel. If there are challenges and frustrations going on in your life, and you need to give yourself that time and to feel what you need to feel. But of course, you don't want to be stuck there either. So, just acknowledging again, if I'm resisting even sitting here and visualizing myself being happy or joyful and whatever my visualization, you know, of being happy and joyful is, whether it is a dance or whatever. Just acknowledging, okay, where am I resisting that? Okay, what's coming up if I'm just, yeah, resisting this thought of even trying to feel happy. So that's, yeah, never suppressing never ever ever works. So
Yeah, I don't think so. That's spot on, I think.
yeah,
Also, like, I think a lot of people don't really necessarily know what brings them joy.
so
Mhm.
true.
And if they've either lost touch with that or life has gotten so busy or whatever that they've just kind of forgotten and put it's too many things to do and they put it on the back burner. But I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
if you sat down and thought about like just, well, what used to bring me joy or what did I enjoy doing? And just try doing some of those things, like
yeah,
make time, set
right.
it aside and go and, try
Mhm.
some of this or whatever. I don't even know what everybody brings joy to
Right.
everybody, but yeah, just that. Like what can I do that's gonna,
Mhm.
whether it's, whatever. I mean, making a really good meal that you haven't made in a really long time that, or painting or I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you for bringing that up. That is so
Calling an old friend that you haven't talked to and just sort of catching up and been like, gosh, how's your life? And you guys just like kind of reconnecting. That's sometimes
yeah,
that's a real game changer. So yeah, just
it is.
yeah, I think a lot of people just don't even know. Like, well,
Right.
I think I like to watch movies, and it's like, well, yeah, everybody likes to watch movies, but like, what do you actually really like to do? Like that brings you joy,
Right.
and that could be, gosh, anything.
Sure.
For everybody, it's very,
Right. Right. That is so true. Yeah. No, I know
Mhm.
it's not the distractions. It's yeah, just
Yeah.
what am I actually doing? That is, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
uh, eliciting that joyfulness and that, yeah, fulfillment within me. That's really good. Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. I think that's pretty much everything that I had to share on the month. Um, yeah. So as long as we're just, yeah, not suppressing just how we're feeling, but just intentionally being aware of that, that does heal it and transform it. It does, just like a person resisting dancing. Eventually, maybe they get it, even if it's just a little shuffle and a smile. But yeah, so there we go. And I do have just a little guided meditation. If you would like to participate, you can. If you don't want to, that is okay too. And yeah, with these meditations that we do, they are guided. They are just meant for you to just think and reflect inwardly about how you're feeling. And this one is specifically going to focus on laughter, actually. So when you are ready to, if you would like, you can begin by focusing inward and being aware of just where you are in this space at this time. Just acknowledging the thoughts and the feelings that are coming up for you. Being aware of your breath. Maybe again, just acknowledging that our breath is a miracle. How it keeps us alive and sustains us is a miracle in and of itself. And just being aware again of your body and if there's any tension or tightness, just notice that. If there's any sounds just going around you on the outside, being aware of those and just welcoming them into this space. And as just the thoughts and the feelings of the day, just being aware of those as they're maybe swirling around in your mind or in your body. And just allow whatever is to come up to the surface. Maybe there's a particular challenge, a particular point of frustration, or maybe something that's just getting you down, pulling you into just the lower vibrational state. And just welcome that any thoughts or images or sounds or sensations that come up that are associated with that challenge. And also notice just what is your number one intention that you're wanting for your life right now. And maybe that's the pain point of your challenge or your problem. And just allow yourself to welcome the energy and welcome that into consciousness. And just notice if there's any sense of wanting to control anything in your life about your situation about the world, about God, in order to maybe try to make things happen or have a certain outcome. And just be aware, like with that number one intention that you have for your life, maybe things that are popping up that you think need to happen in order for that intention to take place. Whatever it is, your heart's desire, your prayer. And just notice what that feels like. That feeling of wanting to control things, to figure things out, figure out what to do, wanting to understand how to make it work your way. And just notice what that feels like. Breathe with it as best as you can. And relax with that. Open up around it. And could you welcome the part of you that maybe feels like all of that is a joke? That already knows, already feels, that already experiences that the perfection that's already here. Could you welcome that part of you that doesn't need to control in order to just have control? That doesn't need to figure it out? And just could you allow yourself to feel any laughter that this part of you may feel about the struggles of your lower self from the perspective of your intention already fulfilled? And just imagine yourself and your higher self in this space of consciousness that's already experiencing your intention fulfilled. And just could you allow yourself to open up to that laughter of what this perspective or this point of view feels about the struggles that we have around that? And just let the laughter roll through all of that intense energy, the wanting energy. Just let it roll through, spreading through the intensity of the wanting or the struggling, wishing, hoping. And just let that wishing and that hoping just be completely permeated by rolling laughter, releasing any intensity or severity or constriction, any contraction or tension. Just the struggle, the worry, the needs, the need to control, or the desperation of having things a certain way. Just fill up all of the wanting with the laughter of the highest self. While allowing yourself to be completely supported and surrounded and healed by this holy energy, this holy laughter that dissolves blocks and limitations, that channels the life energy confidently and powerfully. Just feeling supported by this now from within yourself. You can gradually let your awareness take a more outward focus, counting yourself back up from 5 to 4. Just feeling more pleasant peacefulness spreading throughout your body. From 4 to 3, just with more and more focused energy. From 3 to 2, more awake and energized and happy and healthy. And from 2 to 1, feeling more and more comfortable, opening up your eyes when you're ready to. Now, when I had first gone through this meditation, I actually did have a big old bolt of laughter because all the struggles and everything that we deal with, if we can imagine ourselves in that state where all of our intentions are fulfilled, we can look back and just go, okay, what was all that about? What was I all worried and stressed about? Well, any questions or comments or yeah, or feedback, you can always give it now or later. I did develop some journaling prompts if you would like. I'm gonna share them. I have a platform where I'm posting my videos on NAS.io. And if you haven't joined that, I can share that with you. It's just a platform where I can put my videos and documents and all those things. Anyway, but I can also just share those on our WhatsApp group as well if you would like. If you do journaling, you may or may not journal, but I found it to be very helpful in my
Yeah.
in my journey. But some people just like to free journal too. So, but yeah, these ones I have are just specifically focused to increase our joy this month. Yeah. And then I am starting another book club or book study at the end of this month. And I'm sorry, I don't have the exact date. I'm thinking it's probably going to be like the last Thursday in March. But I'll be sure to share that out. And the book we're reading, hold on, I'm going to grab it. It is it was recommended to us multiple times by our friend Anarina in Israel, and it's called The Moon's Lost Light, and it's by Devorah Fastag. And it's yeah, just a deeper Torah study on femininity or yeah, feminine equality. Not in the sense that, you know, the world spins it today, but yeah, what it is from a Torah perspective. And I've read it once and yeah, I'm gonna do another reread of it. So if you're interested, I will put more info out about that as well.
So, quick question. Okay,
Yeah.
your journal prompts.
Yes.
Have I been on your platform? I'm trying to I don't know if I have. Is it on WhatsApp or is it on a separate?
It's a separate platform. Yeah. So
Okay,
I'll
maybe
send
I
you the link.
haven't.
It's yeah, this is just a platform that of several people, different coaches that I work with
Okay.
in
Okay.
Rabbi Tone. It's really just like a holding platform for
Yeah.
all the stuff. So it just is in one spot. And I'm really
Okay.
using my WhatsApp for announcements.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'll be sure
Sorry.
to share it with
I
you.
don't
No,
think
you're fine.
I don't think I've been on there. Sorry.
No,
I'm so
you're
confused.
fine. Not
Okay.
a problem.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop our recording.